guys, welcome to the Overload 101 live Q&A. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Magda.
And today we're taking your questions on anything related to finding winning products, building your online store, dealing with Facebook ads, and all the other questions that might come up as you're taking Overload 101 and building your online store. So, looking at the chat window where we're taking these questions, I see we've got Jason on the air. Yep. Hi, Jason.
Yeah, Jason, thank you so much for your questions. They are really engaged and good questions, and I think ones that a lot of other dropshippers have.
Yeah, so one of the things that Jason was asking is, sorry, a little bit of audio feedback there. One of the things that Jason was asking is a lot of questions related to, am I doing Facebook ads right? Am I targeting the right size audience? Am I targeting the right interests? Am I targeting, should I target engaged shoppers or not? There's tons of questions around those, and Jason, you're not the only one with them. When you get questions like these, Magda, what answers come to mind first?
Well, I think the one most important comment that you made, Jason, was, I'm just looking for one thing to do. You mentioned that you had been looking on YouTube and online and you were seeing a lot of different methods and you're like, I'm just looking for one specific method to take. And I think that this is one of the biggest questions that I get and we all get at Oberlo about Facebook ads is, what Facebook strategy should I use to create a successful e-commerce store? Unfortunately, there is no easy answer here, Jason. And you might not like to hear this, but this is the cold, hard truth of the matter. There is no one way to succeed with Facebook ads. If you've been doing your Facebook ad research online, there's actually a reason that you've seen so many different strategies. Maybe someone using CBO, maybe someone turning CBO off. It's because different things work for different people and different stores. So the best method for Facebook ads is actually finding a strategy and then sticking with it, rather than trying a lot of the other ones, because it's really easy to get overwhelmed. And I think that's happened to all of us who started to learn about Facebook ads. You think, well, this isn't working, so it's the entire strategy, but it might not actually be. So that's what I think is the most popular question I get, and hopefully that provides some insight into your question, Jason.
Yeah, you've really got to test and find out what works for you, because listen, if one thing worked for everyone, then everyone would do it. That would drive Facebook ad prices up and it wouldn't work anymore. So the best entrepreneurs out there, they're learning the fundamentals and then they're getting really creative. So I know it's frustrating. I know you want there to be one way to be successful, but it's actually really freeing that there isn't. There's another question here that we've got from Tony that I want to answer. Tony asks, what 3 apps would you recommend to make a difference between excellent converting product pages and average ones? So 3 apps that come to mind, because I was just on a phone call today with a dropshipper who does like some incredible numbers. He's 22, he lives in Switzerland, and it's so awesome. Like, it's so incredible how much he knows about this stuff. Here are the 3 apps that he loves for his store. Ready? Gem Pages, Zipify, and I think it's called AliExpress Reviews. So Gem Pages and Zipify are actually landing page apps. Now we're seeing some dropshippers experiment with landing pages, which are kind of separate pages that you custom build for your Facebook ad audiences to drive them to. With landing pages, you can do more than a regular product page. You can have maybe videos, multiple columns of text, and you can incorporate reviews. That's what the AliExpress Review Importer is for. So if you want to really optimize your pages for sales, then custom landing pages could be the way to go. Now, I haven't looked into how expensive these apps are, so you'll have to decide, okay, is that an investment that I'm ready to make now, or do I still want to try to get more juice out of my product page? And if you don't have AliExpress Reviews imported to your product page, that's a great place to start.
That's definitely the app that I would start with as well. I think landing pages is a really cool strategy, and this is super exclusive information because we have not shared this anywhere yet, so it's really exciting to share with you guys. But one strategy that I would suggest, sometimes when you go on the Shopify App Store, it can get really overwhelming because there's so many different apps, and they're all say that they're great for converting, and they all have a lot of good reviews, and you're not sure what to get started with. So if that is how you feel, then take a second and go to some online stores that you regularly shop at, or really big online stores in general. Look at their product pages and just try to dissect some of the things that you see. For example, you will most likely see reviews on every successful e-commerce business page, product page. So that is something that you can incorporate into your business immediately. There might be banners. That's something that you can incorporate as well for free. So if you are a little bit lower on budget or feeling overwhelmed, just get started by looking at some examples of really successful stores and just look them up in the Shopify App Store, and most of them will at least have a free version for you to try out. So make sure to try them out. And just a tip, this is a tip that I always needed for myself, make sure you put a reminder in your phone on the day that it's supposed to start charging you, because otherwise you might just start getting charged for the apps, and maybe you'll want to, no problem. But just as a tip, and something that I've had to learn so many times, because I always think I'm gonna remember in 14 days, but then I do not remember in 14 days. So just make sure to put a reminder on your phone, and that will also kind of push you to make sure you're actually looking at how effective it is for your store. Is it making a difference? And if not, no problem, try another app.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a lot of questions, so I'm going to try to move through them like a little bit more quickly, because we've got 30 minutes with you. And by the way, if you're joining us late, you can always watch this video using the same link from start to finish. So we've got a question from RDC asking how to be unique in a saturated market without lowering the price. First of all, I really don't think there's any saturated market. I think the only time a product is saturated is maybe when it is sold at Walmart, and then someone can walk down the street and get it. Other than that, you can almost always compete on a product if you have a great video ad, if you have a great product page, and also if you're willing to explore other markets. So you have to compete by getting creative, by thinking, okay, what problem does this product solve? How can I show that in a video in 2 seconds that is so creative and eye-catching? Brainstorm. Think of 50 different answers to those questions. Just sit and don't pick up your pencil until you've got 50 different ideas, because most people are going to be lazy. They're going to look up the winning Facebook ad and copy that. Don't do that. You have to compete on price if you're copying what everyone else is doing. You can either compete on price, which is you're going to lose, or you compete on creativity, which takes work. There's no formula, but that's how all the winners break through and hit the numbers that are not average. Bam.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think I could have said it better myself. Yeah, that's definitely the best method to take. I would say that if you cannot think of anything creatively as well, try to incorporate a person. Maybe use yourself as a model to do some reviews or make some videos with the product, because having someone actually using the product and a face behind the product will also definitely help you stand out from the competition. You know, people will think, okay, so there's 20 people selling these pillows, but this one company selling these pillows, like they've gotten to know the guy selling them or the guy that's reviewing them. So it might be a little bit easier for you to convert with that.
I want to talk about the elephant in the room, and this is going to be a delicate subject, but let's talk about the coronavirus. We're of course aware of it, and I think the most important thing for us to keep in mind here is this is something that's affecting people's lives. And so while it affects our businesses, and that's really important too, first and foremost, let's just be sensitive that it's also affecting people's lives, and that's always more important. What we're seeing in terms of how the coronavirus is affecting dropshippers is that there's no one thing I could say that's true. We have some suppliers that cannot fulfill any orders. We're also, here in the office, we've placed test orders and we've gotten them within 2 weeks. Everything is dependent on the supplier, and even within suppliers, the situation where that supplier is maybe changing on a week-by-week basis. This all really depends on what stage you're at in your dropshipping game, but if you're at a point where you haven't started running Facebook ads yet, I think it's still worth building the store. Research your audience, research your products, optimize your store, learn, use this time to make your store better. If you're at the point where you are running Facebook ads, just be careful that you may run into delays. You can't be sure. You may want to pause your ads, dive deep into the data, do things with email marketing. we wish we had like a blanket rule, but the blanket rule is not stop. Some people are making and fulfilling orders. And the blanket rule is not go and pretend like nothing's normal, because it's not normal, right? So I know this is a really complex answer, but the unfortunate situation is that it's a really complex situation, and so that's all we know right now. So this is not the time to run 6-figure Facebook ads if you don't have experience doing that. This is a great time to build and learn, because the situation is starting to slow down in China from what we've heard in the news. And optimistically this will get better, and the people who have used this time to build their store and learn will end up being ready to succeed when the situation improves.
It's really, really important to think about what step you are at in your e-commerce journey. I've noticed that a lot of people who are worried about the coronavirus haven't even actually built a store yet. They haven't even decided if they want to sell a product or anything like that. So if that's you, then look at this as a time that you can really sit down, really take the time to look through products, because there's no rush. You can take the time to set up a really great store, landing pages, take the time to look into apps that convert really well, and set things up so that when you feel comfortable and you feel ready, that you can just get started with your store right away. Things will eventually be solved, so just be on the lookout and make sure you are keeping up to date. But otherwise, just really take a look at exactly where you are and see what you can do kind of in that meantime to be productive.
And one thing you can do in the meantime, and this relates to the next question we can talk about, Makate asks about video ads. How do people make video ads? Do they first buy the product and then make the video? Actually, you can do it either way. So in Overload 101, when we made the video ads for the coffee pods, we literally just had whipped out a cell phone or a camera, and then thought of a couple shots we wanted to take, filmed it, and then edited that together. So we had ordered the products ahead of time. Though Paul Lee, who we interviewed on our channel, never does that. He just goes straight to someone on Fiverr and says, this is the product I'm selling, can you make a video ad? I'll link to that right now.
Yeah, Paul is really has a cool strategy. He doesn't feel the need to send products to himself, and he just actually gets and works with someone on Fiverr to make a really creative video ad just with pictures of the product on AliExpress. So if you've ever wondered if you have to order a sample, no, you totally don't have to order a sample. However, if you do order a sample of the product, it is a lot easier to take those sample shots. Also, you can take a lot of additional pictures for content on your social media platforms. You can use that product to make TikToks, for example. You can give it away, run a contest for that product. So there are a lot of additional benefits to actually ordering a sample. But if you just want to get started, you can definitely just use the pictures of the products, and you do not need to order a sample. But I think that, to be completely honest, you will want to, because you want to make sure that the product that you are selling is of good quality. And most of the times the reviews on AliExpress will tell you that, but it is nice to know for yourself what you are selling to customers.
We've got a question about Emma and her ambassador program and kind of how she gets, and then another question about getting free traffic to the store. So maybe it's worth talking a little bit about what Emma did to drive traffic to the store.
You mean in terms of affiliates?
Yeah, I think what Emma was doing with her ambassador program is I think if I'm remembering correctly, she was telling people, hey, if you drive traffic to the store, you have an affiliate link. So she was part of it, or she had set up an affiliate program. That is something not a lot of people explore necessarily.
It's something that not a lot of people, I think, explore with dropshipping, which means that there is a huge opportunity there for you if you have a successful store already. If you watch YouTube, or if you jump onto YouTube, a lot of YouTubers will actually have sponsors. They'll have sponsored videos, and most of the time the sponsored videos, if you use the code from that YouTuber, you'll get a certain percentage off the product, and they make a certain percentage. And it's a win-win situation, because you may have never thought to use that service or product, but you like the YouTuber, you want a discount, and everybody wins. And this is rampant across YouTube. Everyone does this. It's an extremely successful format. And I think that because it's not that popular in dropshipping yet, that leaves a huge opportunity for someone to jump in and take advantage of that. There's a lot of people online with a huge social media following that don't have a way to necessarily convert that into money, and you can be the person that steps in and provides that for them, because they're already making content. A lot of them, they are already extremely well connected and talking to their audience, so why not help them and then also help your own business? Definitely something I would look into.
On the topic of free traffic, I think, so Tony had also asked, which free traffic method do we prefer to use and has given us the most results? Right now, Magda, I'm hot on TikTok, and actually Oberlo is on TikTok as of 2 days ago, so we're trying to learn that platform ourselves, but we've seen entrepreneurs on TikTok get sales. However, to succeed on TikTok, you can't be like, come buy my product. You have to be creative again. You have to be part of the community, learn the jokes, throw yourself in there, show your product, but show it in a way that also gives people an idea of why you're selling it and who you are and what your story is. If you're just like on sale now, no one will come to your site. You really have to decide to be part of that community. But if you invest that time, it's free, and we've seen a lot of people get sales from TikTok. You've heard a couple good stories in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, someone that works at Oberlo themselves runs an online store, and she decided to do an experiment where she signed up for TikTok and would start posting TikToks for 1 month of her products. She sells jewelry. When she was taking TikToks of her jewelry, she ended up doubling her Instagram followers from 2,500 to 5,000. And because of that, she got tons of free organic sales. And that was with 1 month's work. So TikTok is a huge platform that you really, really want to consider looking into, signing up for. And the fact of the matter is, TikTok is here, and it's definitely here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future. So it would actually be a detriment to your business if you're at least not on it. You need to be on the ground and knowing what other people are using, what's going on, because these are your advertising channels and your e-commerce advertising channels. So you really need to be on top of it. And even if you're not using it just yet, you need to know what's going on, because then when the time comes, you'll be able to create high quality TikToks without trying to figure it out like someone who's never used it before.
Yeah. We've got a question from City, who says he's having a hard time, City, is having a hard time finding a winning product because it seems like it needs to have a wow factor and solve a problem and not be seen in stores, and it seems like that's hard. It is hard, definitely, to find a winning product. However, it's really hard for you to also have a good first instinct when you're beginning. That's why in our store, we put 5 different products in the store to begin with. And to be honest, I thought that the beeswax wraps were going to be our winning product. To me, that solved a problem and had a wow factor. I thought the little capsules didn't have any wow factor. Mm-hmm. Maybe they solved a problem because they were reusable, but other than that, they just laid there. Like, what kind of a video ad is that? However, that ended up being the product that got us the most sales. Mm-hmm. So when you're starting out, pick some products that you have a hunch are good. Yeah, maybe they are saturated. Yeah, maybe they don't solve an intense problem, or maybe they seem to lack a wow factor, but pick products that you think, okay, maybe they don't check all 3 boxes, but they check 2 out of 3, and test them. Test. You're just never going to know if a product is winning until you test it. It's frustrating because it means you're going to have to put some money behind it. You're kind of betting on that product, but it's just necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, one thing that's really important to remember is that unfortunately, when you're looking for winning products, they will not just say winning on AliExpress anywhere. Sometimes you will actually have a winning product, but you won't know because you didn't test it correctly. I've worked with a lot of dropshippers. Well, we both have. And I've seen a lot of situations where a store is making millions of dollars with a product, and then another merchant is selling it, but they're not running ads properly, they're not even really pushing traffic, they're not doing anything creative, their product page doesn't look good, and then they reach out and say, well, it's so hard to find winning products. And I'm thinking on the other side, actually you have a winning product, you're just not using it correctly, you're not selling it correctly, or you're not using it to its full potential. Just because a product is a winner does not mean it will sell itself if it's just sitting on your storefront. So you need to really make sure that not only are you testing multiple products, but make sure that you're actually testing them and not just letting them sit on your store and running really simple ads that are not effective. So be really, really careful when looking through them.
Cool. Vicky, by the way, so we've got about 10 more minutes together, so keep those questions coming. And if you're joining us midway through, know that you can follow the same link that you used to get here, and you can watch the full Q&A from start to finish, where we talk about Facebook ads, we talk about the coronavirus and what that means for your business and other things. So this video will be saved so that you can take a look later. We've got a question from Vicky. She launched her store with Facebook ads and had hundreds of visits, tons of clicks and impressions, but no sales. So then she retargeted and did lookalike audiences and now only had 9 store visits and no sales. I'm going to say what I think would happen and then let me know if you agree or disagree. So if you had hundreds of visits to your store and then you retargeted, retargeting a few hundred people is, in Facebook eyes, not a ton. Like, getting hundreds of visits is great, but when you're retargeting, you're still gonna get a fraction of who you're retargeting, and a fraction of a few hundred is not a lot, right? So understand that will naturally be a pretty small pool that would come to your store. And then when it comes to lookalike ads, again, hundreds of visits is awesome for your first store, amazing, great, but you probably need a few hundred more before Facebook is going to have enough data to give you valuable lookalikes. Right now, Facebook is still more or less guessing. The more people who visit your store, the smarter Facebook will get about those lookalikes, and that will send higher potential traffic to your store. With all of that said, if you're getting hundreds of visits to your store and no ads yet, first, that's not unusual. Multiple hundreds of visits is great, but you're still in that building, learning phase. And second, make sure you've gone through the whole checkout process as a customer and see, was there anything that was weird? Or was there anything that felt weird? Did a shipping cost come up that you weren't expecting? Because that could be driving people away. And then the one other thing I would say is, oh my gosh, I forgot the one other thing I was going to say.
That's okay.
Okay.
That was Jessica.
Yeah, jump on in there though. Does that feel right? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that I would completely go behind and do those 2 things. And then the third thing that I would add, which I guess would make it a 3-step process, would be to check your product page, Vicky. I don't know, I'm sure you've been in this situation, I think we all have, where you're walking down the street or walking through the mall, you see a store, you see the storefront, you're like, oh my god, I'm going to go buy something from there. It looks so cute, I want that. Or whatever it may be. Then you go in and just something doesn't click. I don't know, maybe it's too expensive, or maybe it's kind of confusing and it's difficult to find, or maybe they don't have your size. It could be a variety of reasons, but you saw the storefront, you were so excited to go buy that, and then something just happened inside and you didn't end up purchasing it. So that's kind of what you want to think about. So it's great to hear that people are visiting your store. That means people are seeing the ad and it's performing well. So congrats. That's really hard. That's already a huge accomplishment. Yeah. But now they're in your store, and there's something that's stopping them from maybe pressing add to cart. So I would try going through your product page really in-depthly, compare it to a product page of a huge company, because those companies pay people a lot of money to set up that product page very specifically. Try to see what the prices are. Maybe you could add reviews, maybe you could lower the price of your product. I'm not sure if that's available to do. Do the pictures look good? Are they high quality? Maybe you should add some videos. There's a lot of things you could do to make sure that once someone's in your store, they are gonna, follow through and actually purchase the product. Of course, you're usually looking for a 1 to 2% conversion. So most of those hundreds of visits are not going to convert. That's okay. That is totally normal. But I would definitely look at the product page, because I feel like when you think of it in the sense of you walking into a store, it's a lot easier to understand, because we've all been in that situation where we've gone in and then we decided, oh no, actually I'm not going to buy that. So you do not want that, and you want to just focus on and celebrate that people are seeing your ad and excited to shop with you.
I remembered my final point is, while you've got the visitors, try to get their email address. Because if you have their email address, you're going to be able to market to them for free. So make sure you've got either like a pop-up or a segment or something that says sign up for 20% off and set that up. I really like Klaviyo for email marketing. I'll include that in the chat now, app for email marketing, Klaviyo. So check that out, it's pretty easy to get started with. So Hamza is asking this question, and I think it might be a perfect question for us to wrap on, which is, how do you know when a store is not going to work? What are the telltale signs?
That is very difficult to say, I think, because I've seen so many stores that I think look really bad. I think the products are really boring. And they make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And that's just a reality of e-commerce. And I think why it's so exciting, because anything can work. You just need to figure out a formula to make it work. I think it just depends on how long you're willing to wait or how long you want to push before you decide to quit and go to another product. I think a lot of times when people are looking for winning products, for example, they're looking for a fast sell winning product. They're not necessarily looking for a product that's going to sell, because everything might sell, but they're looking for something that's going to make them money immediately and not take a long time. But what I would say is, if you're putting money into your Facebook ads or however you're advertising, and people are coming to your store, they're adding to cart, but after a while you feel that you've truly optimized your product page, there's nothing else you can do, you've tried to run a giveaway, you've tried to grow your social media, and something's just not clicking, then I would probably suggest trying something else. But in that case, I actually wouldn't ditch the store. I would probably just ditch the product, because at that point you've got so much customer information. So let's say you're selling a dog toy, and the dog toy, you do not feel it's catching. Maybe it's boring, who knows, but it's just not working. Well, that store has so much information about dog lovers, people who might be interested in pet toys for their pets. And you can really use that to your advantage and test a new sort of dog toy or product. So that's probably what I would suggest.
Exactly. Here's the thing too, a lot of dropshippers are not thinking about this. We don't talk about it a lot. Say you are working on this dog niche store, you've tested several products, and say you worked on it and you only tested 2 products for 2 weeks and it didn't catch on, and you're like, it's not working. You really haven't invested much in that store. So you haven't tapped its potential, you haven't really given it a chance, and the store you've built is worth basically nothing. It has no data attached to it. The only value it has is whatever manual labor you put into building it. However, if you stick with a store for, let's say, 3 months, and in those 3 months you hustle, you spend, say, $500 to $1,000 on Facebook ads, and you get all that store data. You build great product pages, you build an email list, a social media following, you design it. Even if you didn't get that many sales, you've built something more valuable, it has more data. You can go to the exchange. If you just Google, or maybe I can look it up, Shopify Exchange. Thanks, Magda. Go to Shopify Exchange, you can sell your store. You can sell it for whatever, $500, $100, $1,000. You'll have to kind of see what people are willing to pay for it. But people are going to be willing to pay more for a store that has some kind of modest success than they are for a store with nothing. So even if you're building a store and you're like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to quit my job and go to Bali with this store, think strategically about an exit. Say, okay, I at least want to get it to a point where I've made $500 worth of sales. I'm going to put in that work. Then I'm going to sell it. I'm going to try to get a certain amount back, and I'll use that as seed money for my next store. So be strategic. Even when you're about to quit, be strategic about quitting, and don't quit. Just start the cycle again.
Yeah, you've got a lot of really good data, and use it. Don't just let it go to waste. It will give you a huge boost whenever you try to start your next store or test your next product.
Yeah. All right, guys, this has been a great Q&A. If we didn't answer your question, reach out to our customer support team at hello@oberlo.com. You'll get a real live human being who knows a ton about dropshipping on the other line to help you out. Keep on keeping on with your store, and we'll be back next month.
Yep. And keep hustling.
Keep hustling. Bye, guys.